and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Rakah Quadash. And double honors to the apostles of the great millstone that taught me this truth through the inspiration and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua. And giving salutations to the Yakim, of course, that's forwarding this ministry and continues in diligence. Most importantly, out of the sincerity of your hearts. And shalom to the brothers that can further the ministry right along with us due to their circumstances, but still heed to the ministry as usual, and as well as the sisters too. It's the brother Laban coming at you with another video, as you can see, which involves this woman here, which was stabbed up by her son 15 times. So we're going to get into this article, man, and we're going to basically go through this down through the middle by including scripture as usual. So it reads, 61-year-old Brooklyn pastor stabbed to death by her son, cops say. A 61-year-old Brooklyn pastor was stabbed to death by her adult son in their shared Brooklyn home over the weekend, cops said. Tracy Sidnor, the executive pastor of the Upper Room Baptist Church in Bedford Stuyvesant, was stabbed multiple times in a domestic dispute with her 40-year-old son, Kenji Francis, inside their home on Wyona Street near Lavinia Avenue in New Lots just after 2 p.m. Saturday, authorities said. Sidnor was rushed to Brookdale University Hospital Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead, and Francis was taken into custody on scene and charged with murder, as well as an unlawful activity, dangerous weapon, rap, authorities said earlier this Monday. So, as I've just read on how they've shared a home together, that in itself is the problem, because for one, you can't have a grown-ass man living with his mom like this, man, in a dependent in a situation where he has to depend on his mother, and that's going to just cause a lot of problems right there and there. Like, I would say this though, I mean, if brothers have to stay with their mom, it would have to be due to the fact that they would have to help their mother out because of her health issues or what have you, or something to that equivalent. But to just be under her house like that, under her roof, like this, and you're all joined together, it's going to cause problems, man. It's going to cause problems. I mean, it's a highly likely case that her son was just nothing more than a nickard, because, a man in his right state of mind wouldn't do something like this to his own mother, okay? And, as I'm going to say as well, I mean, if you're dealing with somebody that you don't get on with, right? That it can include your mother, that can include your father, whoever it is, your relatives. If you don't get on with this person and this person is capable of driving up the wall, the best thing to do is to separate from that person, man, and make way to have it so that you have your own space. Because, it's not good being a man that's 40 years old living under your mother, man. Because, just by looking at this woman, to be exact, she looks very annoying. She can drive you up the wall. She can very well do that to you. It's clear. Like, you look at these two pictures, seems like a kind person. She looks like she means well, but when you really look down at the third picture, you can see who she really is, and this is her true self. Very proud and arrogant and just irritating. Can be very extremely irritating. And, just to support what I'm saying a little bit, in the article, it mentions her son not having any previous criminal. As it reads, he does not have a previous criminal or psychiatric history. According to police, no further information was known on Monday about the dispute. So something happened, or she probably said something to him that crossed him the wrong way and drove his ass up the wall to do his mother in the way that he did her, by putting her to death. And that's not something that we can just go over and that's it. No, that's one of the worst things you could do is kill your parents, man. Kill your father or kill your mother. All right, and there's a law in that too. There's a law where because when you read this case here, it says that he's going to be charged for murder. Really, he should actually get the death penalty according to the law in the book of Exodus 21 verse 15, as this reads, "He that smiteth his father or his mother shall be surely be put to death." So this is, the son should really be tried for the death penalty. All right, but what I also want to go over too, which I really wanted to cover first, but the Spirit didn't have it so that was the case. I want to talk about just a little as to why this probably happened to her and why she was judged in the way she was judged anyway. And I just want to read the scripture here. And before I read the scripture, I just want to roughly paraphrase that there was a story when you read about the history of Moses and Aaron, and as well as this woman. Now, you know, there was this woman that was getting on Moses in a negative light, and the Lord didn't really like on how she got in the business of Moses and was talking about him in the way that she was talking about him, like I said, in a negative light. So then what the Lord did was plagued her with leprosy, and she was white as snow, as the scripture says. And because the thing with Moses was the Lord's main man, so there's no way in hell the Most High is going to suffer some woman to talk about him in a negative sense. Okay, so you know, that's just that one case right there on how the Lord doesn't recommend women to be accepting authority and you know, saying things that don't need to be said. All right, and that's probably the reason why this woman was judged in the manner that she was judged, because as it says, she's what, 61 years old, right? It says that this woman is 60. Excuse me, a little bit of brain fog there. So I mean, you know, as the article states on the headline, it says that she's 61 years old. So she's old enough to have heard somehow, some way, that it's not reasonable for, according to the scriptures anyway, for a woman to be partaking in the position of being an executive pastor and calling herself preaching and prophesying. Like, that's a no-no. She knows this. You know what I'm saying? But because she decided to partake in this role of being the pastor that she could have been, it just goes to further show once again that this woman didn't fear the Lord. She knows the Bible, but she doesn't fear the commandments of the Lord, which is within the Bible. And that's why you have these judgments happening a lot these days, man. Like people getting run over by cars, people getting caught up in fires, and just all kinds of stuff going on, man. You know, Zephaniah 3 verse 5, it says, "The just Lord is in the midst thereof, and he will not do iniquity. Every morning," this is the point, "every morning doeth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame." So there you have it right there. Every morning doeth the Lord bringeth his judgment to light. Why? Because there's no fear of the Lord on the earth, as well as our people. That's why there's a lot of things going on among our people in these so-called black communities, have you will, because there's no fear of the Lord in these areas. You know, you just got people doing whatever the hell they want, and they know what they're doing is wrong to a higher degree, and they do it anyway. They do it anyway with ease, with confidence, without no fear whatsoever. So that's why you have these kind of situations occurring, and including other situations that happen out of the blue, miscellaneously. So you know, but as I was saying before, obviously I don't condone what the son did, because that's actually a sin unto death, as I've showed you in the scripture and all of that. But you know, when you have a case of two adults living in the same room together, man, especially if it's a grown-ass man living under his mother, that's not a good look. That's a terrible look, you know. And you know, according to the law, if the law was in activation right now, none of this would exist. This case would be disassembled before it even came up. But because we live in a world where people can just do whatever the hell they want, and we're being governed by a bunch of no men anyway, base men, which I have to say, which are indeed the Edomites, which they call themselves so-called white people, or, just to make it more Pacific, just to be more Pacific here, the so-called Jews, which are ruling the world with no morals, with no biblical morals, but they're the people though, ruling the earth. And this is why people just do whatever the hell they want to do and getting caught up in judgment because of it. Alright, so that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't want to make this video too lengthy. I made my point and I'm going to be done with it, because I got other videos that I want to do, more interesting videos I want to do anyway. So with that, I say shalom.